Mine was literally a handshake in a Vegas casino with Gary behind the curtains or something
Stop.
like that. Oh, 100%. Yeah. So you guys, normal, right? When you take a step, you make full contact with your skeleton to the earth.
Right.
When an amputee makes a step, there's nothing in his skeleton that's touching the earth. He's floating around. He's still shooting NCIS New York.
Yeah.
And they offered like 10 veterans to come watch a filming of NCIS. And
CSI.
Then, was it CSI? Oh, I'm sorry. Whew. So,
cut the tape.
yeah, right. No. So,
we're done with this podcast.
Anyway.
Hello and welcome to GSF Podcast, sponsored by the Gary Sinise Foundation's Education and Outreach Initiative, aiming to educate the public on the importance of serving America's veterans, first responders, and their families.
Welcome to the Gary Sinise Foundation podcast. I'm your host, Kristen Kampsnyder, and today I'm honored to sit down with an extraordinary American hero, United States Marine Nick Kimmel. While serving in Afghanistan, Nick was injured by an IED, resulting in the loss of both legs and his left arm. He is one of a very small number of triple amputees to survive his injuries. In true Marine fashion, Nick didn't let that stop him. Amazingly, he has defied not only the odds of survival, but is now a world-class competitive golfer, which we will talk more about in a minute. Thanks to the generosity of so many grateful Americans, the Gary Sinise Foundation built Nick a customized mortgage-free smart home, which is where we are today. So Nick, thank you so much for hosting us in your home. And I love this house. How did it feel when you received the keys, or can I say like iPad essentially, for the home and it was officially yours?
I think there's quite a bit of build up for me because I was a part of the foundation from like late in 2012 when I first met Gary, and early on then it was almost literally like a handshake, like, all right, we're gonna do this. You're a recipient.
It's like before there was an actual process. Now there's a whole process, and like you knew.
I hear guys go through it, and I know it's a required process, but it blows my mind that mine was literally a handshake in a Vegas casino with Gary behind the curtains or something like that. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
That's so Gary too.
Yeah. But then at that, right, I wasn't sure where I wanted to settle down, so it became a long, stretched out process, and then finding a property I liked, and then the property owner decided they didn't want to sell, which turns out was, a blessing in disguise, because we found the place where I am now, and I love where I'm at now, and it has a very small town feel, just like where I grew up, and except here in Southern California, you literally drive 20 minutes and you're in a town with 100,000 people, so there's everything you could possibly ever need within a half an hour, which is better than it being like an hour and a half at home, which I've been talking to Tracy, my wife, about lately, because we were going to try and go up north to my hometown this summer around 4th of July, but now, like you said, I have a commitment to go play in a pretty good golf tournament here.
I'm excited to talk more about that. How did it take a while for it to settle in? Like, did it take a while for you to live here, for you to look around and be like, whoa, this is home? Or was it like immediate?
No, it definitely took a while
Did it?
to settle.
Okay.
I would say like a few months at least, because even though I I think I still had stuff at my old apartment before, so I moved stuff back slowly and over a time period of a couple weeks, and so that probably made it stretch out, made it feel like same thing. Like until I got my stuff in here, which only probably 20 or 30% was mine, because with the generosity of the Gary Sinise Foundation, along with that came a full furnishing of the home, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't just here's an empty shell and
Right.
good luck sleeping on your floor for the next 6 months. It was like, here, have this giant king size bed that you've never slept in, but before ever, like never slept in a bed that big or that comfortable. So it's the whole thing it's quite, like I said, it felt like I was and as much as I travel, it felt like I was just staying in an Airbnb or a hotel for a while.
Sometimes when you wake up in a hotel, you're like, wait, where am I?
All the time.
Oh man, I love that. And you were in an apartment before, so the transition must have been incredible.
Yeah. And the biggest transition was because the internal amenities of the apartment weren't bad. It's the externals, right? The garage and the shop and the yard and the place for the dogs to run around, and I don't have to walk them 3 times a day. I can just literally open the door and be like, all right, go do your thing.
Oh my gosh. What's your favorite thing about the home? Do you have a favorite thing?
Well, the easy answer about the favorite thing being as my hobbies would be the shop, right?
Okay.
And everything that comes entailed in that, and what I've been able to add to it. But yeah, having the lift in there, which then just builds upon my hobbies and things that are like stress relieving for me. Like right now, I know my truck needs oil changed, and so at some point this week, I'm probably going to go move trucks around and cars around and change the oil in my truck. And I'd rather do it than pay someone to do it, because it's a therapy and it's cheaper.
I think that was one of the first things that I realized about you, is that you never, like, you always did it. Like, you always found a way to do the things. And I remember when you had the shop, I was like, what? This is insanity. Like, this is crazy. And like, you wanted to do everything yourself. How important was that to like have that?
With every recipient of the home, I think having something, and that's what I tell people when I tell them the difference between, there are a lot of great organizations that build homes out there, and the difference between some of the other ones and what Gary Sinise Foundation does with the RISE program is it is 100% customized to what you are into.
Right.
And I always tell them about, because this was the time when I went through rehab was what Juan Dominguez and building his own, music studio in his home, which rolled into him having this amazing music career.
Oh yeah.
As a triple amputee, fellow triple amputee. That's why him and I stayed in touch over the years. And so now with me, with my interest being in, mechanics and off-roading and outdoors, like having a place where I can, one, store the, toys and gadgets and tools that I have, and then be able to work on my own vehicles and do my own thing. Like, not only does it save me money, it's therapy for me. So I get to go out there and tinker and fix my own stuff.
Yeah. How has the home eased the challenges of your daily life? Has that changed?
As far as easing stuff on the daily life, everything in the house, right? Which is huge on that. I mean, in the shop too, like, because obviously if I didn't have the lift, I'd have to be on a creeper and laying on my back, and that's not happening.
Not fun.
Yeah. No. But inside the house, the one that I've used the most, honestly, is being able to control lights and heating and air from my phone.
Okay.
So I can fluctuate it all the time. And some people like to leave lights on in the house, and some people like to turn them off. So I can just turn them off anytime from my phone, which is amazing.
From your
so
phone?
I don't have to get up, yeah.
Oh, not even the iPad. You can do it from your phone.
Both, yeah. Or you can use the ones on the wall. I have a couple wall units, and then the iPad has the same app. You just put it on your cell phone, and I can do that. I can control the house from anywhere.
See, that's the convenience factor.
Or like, if we're on vacation, I can turn the air off. And then if we're coming home on vacation, I can turn the air on while we're on the airplane if I wanted to.
Oh, even better.
Yeah. When we would go on trips and leave the house, it was always important we had to have one light on,
yes, exactly.
Timer, right?
Yep.
It was either on or on a timer, so it looked like people were
Someone
home.
was there.
Here, I can just do it from my phone.
That's awesome.
Look, like I can just turn on the porch lights from here.
Beautiful. I love it. All right, so let's start from the beginning. Why did you join the Marine Corps?
When I joined the Marine Corps, I had a couple other options, but nothing like that jumped out at me. And then a lot of my close friends were all joined at the same time, and obviously, you're kind of, move around as a pack, especially in a small town. You get a clique of friends, and all mine were in the recruiter's office. So I ended up talking to the recruiter, and he didn't talk me into it, but a big part of it was, it looked like an easy way to travel and get college paid for. And then once I was in, I was locked in.
Yeah.
Then I was almost, I don't want to use the word brainwashed, but like, you're once you experience it, like as soon as you step off the yellow footsteps, right? Then you it's different. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's just that you fall fully into the entire esprit de corps and everything.
Totally. Jose called it like he drank the Kool-Aid, and I was like, "Don't we know it? Don't we know it?"
Same thing.
It's exactly it. How many deployments did you end up doing?
I did two to Afghanistan.
Okay, and it was on your second deployment to Afghanistan when you were injured.
Yep.
Can you take us through that day?
The whole mission, actually. So it was this statistically, right? Either you're going to get injured, or you're going to have the most casualties on the start of your deployment or the end of your deployment. And this was the start of my second one, which is also one of the things they say don't do back-to-back ones because you raise your chances. And what did I do? I did back-to-back, and now on the second mission of my second deployment, we were driving way up north to build a couple of patrol bases for the Georgian Army. They are going to come through and do a big sweeping operation through northern Sangin and Kajaki in the northern part of Helmand province. And so we drove, we convoyed up, and it took us a day and a half or so to get up there from Leatherneck with a big, log trip of trucks and lumber and materials. And we got up there, we had 2 tanks in support of us, and we started working, and
What are you working on while you're there?
So as engineers, we were building patrol bases. So the first night, the first thing we started to do was work on the main gate guard post, and so we had guys filling HESCO by hand because we hadn't unloaded all the trucks yet because it was dark. We worked my Marines until about 3 in the morning, I think.
Oh my goodness.
And then, because lots of times we'll work through the night. It's easier to work at night. You don't have to worry about, their aim's not as good at night, right? Even with us being lit up, right?
That's crazy.
It's not like we do it blacked out anymore because we've been in the country for a decade. They know we're there. So we always did everything super lit up, but we did work through the night a lot. This one, I said, I sent my Marines to sleep about 3 o'clock because I was the second senior guy on site at the lower site. So we split the platoon in 2. 2 squads stayed down south, and then 2 squads went another 3 kilometers up north to right by the dam. And I stayed south with my squad. And they said we worked them to 3 and sent everyone to bed. And then we got up the next morning. And the way it was positioned, you had the main road, and then it was like a bowl of sand dunes around that. So I positioned 3 guard posts on top of the dune, and I had 2 fire teams working on the north and northeast spot, and then me and the other squad leader were working on the west guard post. And we, instead of putting them on top of the hill and silhouetting them, I had the tram or a bucket loader dig down into the sand dune so we could recess the guard posts a little bit so they weren't silhouetted 8 feet, because we build the guard posts are 8 feet tall, so you don't have this huge thing sticking on top of the dune. So we got the guard post put in where it needed to be, and I was putting the roof. I stood on the forklift of the tram, and I was putting the roof on the guard post. I was making sure the roof was square. And so it was me on the forks, the tram operator, and then it had one other, I think he was a heavy equipment operator, was on the ground providing security for me. And then when I jumped off, I made sure the roof was all square, jumped off, and that's when I landed on a 40-pound IED that had been buried. They call it a legacy, so it had been buried after they did the full investigation. I think the FBI actually came and did the investigation.
Man.
So it had been buried at least 6 months or longer, but it was 40 pounds of homemade explosive. And because homemade explosive is so volatile, luckily only 13 pounds actually detonated.
Oh my goodness.
But something like that's definitely designed for a vehicle. And that's why even us walking around on it all day didn't set it off. It was me, and we were fully kitted up, right? So I weighed 180 pounds, and I was wearing probably 130 pounds of gear,
Holy
right?
smokes.
Plus I was 4 feet off the ground. So all that force was enough to set off the pressure plate, but us walking around on it wouldn't,
Nothing. It's just, it had to be you in that specific spot jumping on it.
Yep. And like I said, as engineers, we mine rolled the area. We hand swept the area. It was just, I don't know why it got missed. It happened.
So you were in the area, you're not quite thinking that the odds of you stepping on an IED are going to be quite minimal.
Oh yeah,
in a way.
never really.
Like you're like,
not that anyone made a mistake. But I
Right.
trusted my guys. I knew that we had swept the area. I wasn't worried about it at all.
That's why you're just like, okay, let's build this. We've got a
Yeah.
mission to do. Let's do this. And so after the explosion, then what happened?
I don't remember anything. So
Okay, so you were out.
from the actual explosion was December 1st. I don't even know what time of day it was. Well, it had to have been like mid-morning sometime. And I don't remember anything from the 1st of December until the 5th of December. I just remember waking up in the hospital at Walter Reed.
So what was that like?
But I've been told things, right? So I don't remember that young PFC who was actually it might have been our corpsman. It was our corpsman.
Oh, man.
Came over and was trying to put the tourniquets on my limbs, but he didn't get the tourniquets tight enough. And so one of the tank commanders, actually not one of, the tank commander, that we had 2 tanks in support of us while we were building this patrol base. They were providing security for us. That was really their only job. But obviously they hear an IED go off, and one of the tank commanders came over and kind of lightly nudged our junior corpsman away and put my tourniquets back on and called in the 9 line and got the bird coming in. And they knew we were far enough out. It was risk being inside the golden hour, which is like that money hour where no matter really what your injury is, unless your heart is exploded, right? But if you're alive, if they can get you to a surgeon within that hour, the chances of survival, exponentially higher than that. And so they knew we were kind of at the brink of that. And so they actually had a flight surgeon on the helicopter when they came and picked me up and cracked my chest on the helicopter and went into my abdomen to cut off one of my arteries that had, snapped up inside me. And it was a crazy story, as far as adventures and things we get to do. That I was on a snowboard trip a few years ago, and everyone's get to know one another, and we're driving at the resort, and we're in this big Suburban. I'm sitting in the front. No, I'm sitting right behind the front passenger seat, and the guy in the front passenger seat, I think, is a single above the knee amputee, and he was still active duty in the Air Force. And I'm telling my story about when I got injured and how my heart had stopped like twice, and they jump started my heart on the helicopter twice, or I said I died actually, and I said I died twice, and he goes, on the helicopter? And he goes, and I said yeah, and he goes, in 2011, right, in this place, and I said yeah, and he goes, those were my guys.
What?
What
are the odds?
Yeah, so he was a pararescued guy, and that's the guys who his fire team, half of his team came. He just wasn't the 3 that got on the plane that day,
right?
Or the bird helicopter, but it was his team that came and got me.
Oh my goodness!
Small world, right?
Seriously, and to be able to just see him, face to face, and oh my goodness. So when did you finally realize the extent of your injuries? Because you were unconscious, then you're waking up.
Yeah,
and
when I woke up in the hospital in DC, obviously they told me every time I woke up, because I was in such a haze from drugs and painkillers and all that stuff. So every time I would become not conscious, a nurse would be right there and be like, all right, hey, you had an accident, you're in an IED explosion, you lost both your legs and your arm. And I think same thing. I was on so many painkillers, most of it I was just like, okay, whatever. I do remember one of the first times they came in, and my everything's all bandaged up, and I had vacuums and all kinds of tubes and everything. But from the explosion, something had happened, and my entire palm was swollen up like I was holding a baseball in my palm. There was this like big, huge bubble. And I do remember like when the nurse told me about my amputation, I was like, yeah, whatever. But what's wrong with my hand? I was way more concerned with the little blister or whatever it turned out to be. I don't even remember. Maybe it was even in my head, because I do remember having some hallucinations when I was in the hospital too.
Oh my God. So wait, how long did it take you to did it ever sink in, even while you were in the hospital?
No, because like I said, as many as people told me about it, and
Yeah.
as many people who came, especially I was there, I got hit in December 1st.
Yeah.
So we were in the hospital through Christmas, the end of Thanksgiving, right after all that, and through Christmas and
Yeah.
New Year's. And so there's always a ton of people coming and wanting to pay their respects and give stuff. And it was, something every day was coming by and giving us something. And all my family was able to come, and with the help of a couple other nonprofits and Yale Ribbon Fund and some other people, like they were all able to get even my sisters came out, and guys that I served with paid to get out there on their own dime. Guys I grew up with paid to get out there on their own money. So everyone was there, and so I really never looked at it in sadness. And then by the time I was healthy enough to go do rehab, it was like, okay, let's go work on walking.
Mission, mission moment.
Yeah.
So you went from kind of, I guess you could say kind of in a way, dazed and confused, and then to just focused. Like you had the family show up, and now you just have that, what we would say almost.
And then I remember sitting in a meeting with a bunch of a couple full birds and maybe a general and some Navy doctors, and it was right before I transferred from the hospital in Walter Reed, Bethesda, to San Diego, and they were telling me and my family, you should never have a need in the world. Everything's gonna get taken care of. Everyone is always gonna be there for you, which is been a truth. But then also I remember talking to the PT and them telling me, it's gonna be 13 to 15 months before you can walk or be up and walking. And I wasn't quite walking, but I was up and standing in my prosthetics 7 months later, because I flew to Japan and watched my unit land in Japan, standing up with my dad.
How important was that for you to do that?
That was really cool. Like I said, to be able to and be in full uniform and stand up on the tarmac while they got off the plane was cool. I think it was probably more not demoralizing, but more moralizing. It was probably a better boost to them than it was to me. I just wanted to be there because I wanted to prove the doctors wrong, really.
Maybe not all of it. I mean, I think that you had a connection with your
your
unit,
of course,
just,
right? Yeah, because we trained with them for so long, and that was
Yeah.
the reason I went. And I was one of the few NCOs was there, and I felt bad that I wasn't there anymore because some of the missions got scrubbed and moved around because they didn't have the leadership they had before. So
Yeah.
because that was the reason I went on that second deployment. The whole battalion had only less than 10 NCOs who had been to Afghanistan. So I was I just came back from there. Let's go. I got it.
Just let's do this again.
Yeah.
You just raise your hand. I'm ready to rumble. Recovering after such a life-changing injury is an enormous journey for anybody. So what helped you through those early days?
I think through the early days was just what I've already mentioned to or commented, is just competitiveness, and the same reason I joined the Marine Corps. I wanted to be out and doing the best I could, and so many people told me you can do it, but then there was a couple of things that people said, I don't think you're going to be able to do that, and I can do that, and I've shown, hey, maybe that's not my interest, but I look at this. Because of my, relationships that you make through rehab and all these sports and activities, I've got friends who have summited Mount Everest, right? And I've got friends who have, dove, 80, 100, 150 feet free diving, amputees, and guys who have caught, huge tuna, and guys who have, free dived from, 30,000 feet, and just crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Have you always been competitive? Is that something that's always been innate in you?
I've always been competitive, and then when I wasn't the best on the team or the best around, I was still made sure I made my part to contribute always, especially playing baseball. I might not have been, I was good enough to be on the All-Star team, but I wasn't good enough to be the starter on the All-Star team.
Right.
But the reason I got picked to be on the All-Star team every year because I was a good teammate. So
sometimes it's not about being the absolute best. Sometimes it's about just being a great teammate. I love that. So you talked about how quickly you learned to rewalk. What does that take? What did it take to It's I think sometimes it's hard for people because they're so used to seeing you, and you are incredible on your prosthetics, like amazing. But the process, I mean, there is a process. It's not just put these on and let's just, show you how to do these movements, so to speak.
Yeah, and being a bilateral, like both legs above the knee,
Yeah.
so you start with a short prosthesis so you can learn how to like transition your weight, and you're basically waddling. You look like a little duck, and you're super short. And I actually still, a lot of guys keep them and walk around their homes in them. And I still have mine sitting in the closet for when I don't want, either I have to charge my microprocessor knees or I don't want to spend the effort to walk in a full length knee, because it still takes effort, right? You still have to use your core, but the shorter you are, the easier your center of gravity. It's much easier anyway. So you start with those, and then some guys have a lot of issues with skin sensitivity and soreness, because you've never. This is something actually I think everybody, obviously, the first time you put a socket on, it hurts really bad because you've never had to put weight on
your entire body weight too
on your skin, and it's just your body's not meant to do that. So it takes time to desensitize to that, and then you learn how to get the socket on and the liner, and it's a whole process, and then it wears you out because now you're moving around this thing that's not fully attached and doesn't feel secure. And then for me, it was a fight to get a good socket, and that's a lot of guys go through that. So then later on, I went through a different process, but we'll get to that later. But with the initial rehab, I think I just followed the protocol. I followed what they told me to do, and then I was doing 2-a-days, and in the morning I would go do stuff, and then I would go to occupational therapy, and then I would go back and do another PT session. And I probably didn't have to, right? But and that just because I remember you have to show how to stand up before you're allowed to bring them home.
Right.
So I wanted to do that, and then I think me and a couple other guys were the first ones around to ever drive with our prosthesis. Instead of like using hand controls, we actually use our legs. So
oh man,
they were not the happiest about that.
I can imagine. You just sense it.
And it's much better now. Like, so I'll get to it later, but I can get to it now. So
go.
Years, for years, so I got injured in 2011.
Right.
And for years I fought with the different types of sockets and suctions and suspensions and skin and liners, and everything would cause blisters and sores. And,
I remember,
and my legs would feel heavy, and I couldn't wear them as long as I wanted to. And I'm, even when I was in sockets, I still would be up and doing stuff for 16, 17, 18 hours a day. So I needed to have my legs on, and some days I just couldn't do it. Or I would do a day like that, and I'd be done for 3 days in my house, in a wheelchair, not moving. But now, and in 2000, well, I heard about it early on, but I was, let some other people kind of go through it first, and they were doing it in Salt Lake City. And then I heard they were doing a trial for this technique called osseointegration, or bone-anchored prosthetic. And Integrum was the company that was doing this one out of Walter Reed in Bethesda. And I, talked to my PT, and she got me the contact info I needed to, and I flew out there and met with their doctors, and I was really excited to do it on my legs because what it is it's it's just like a tooth implant. So it's a rod that's surgically implanted into your femur, or
so
in my case, or in my case, my humerus as well. And then the prosthetic just clamps onto a post that sticks out the end, just like a tooth implant. And honestly, this is the cool part. The company that invented my product, the guy who invented it, his father, his name is P.I. Brandmark. He is the dentist who invented dental implants, right? So his son modified it for amputees.
He saw it and thought, okay, that is crazy. And how much of a, how different, how much
now
better?
It's night and day, right? So what I was saying in the socket before, the biggest issue and what wears you out is you are now an open system, right? You're not a closed system. So you guys, normal, right? When you take a step, you make full contact with your skeleton to the earth.
Right.
When an amputee makes a step, there's nothing in his skeleton that's touching the earth. He's floating around. So it's like an open system, right? So in an open system, you move your femur hits your tissue, your tissue hits your inner liner hits your outer liner moves the knee. Every step there's play. whether it's a 32nd of an inch or a 64th of an inch, there's still going to be it, and you're going to feel it, especially after you've been walking for 6, 7, 8, 9 miles, right? You're going to feel all that play. Well, now with my bone anchored prosthetic, my osseointegration, the prosthetic is literally clamped to the bone. So when I move my femur, my prosthetic moves, and I'm now a closed system again. My skeleton, through my prosthetic, touches the earth, touches the ground. And that allows me to feel stuff in the ground too. So it's called osseoperception. So I can feel that we're stepping or standing on slick concrete. If we walk into the room, just to, in front of me where my daughter plays, as foam floor, I can feel the cushion in the floor. I can feel gravel. I can feel dirt through my prosthetic.
What was it like the first time you used them and could tell the difference?
Like walking on gravel at the hospital in Walter Reed and being able to feel my foot roll over a piece of rock. Yeah, that was cool.
Man.
And at that point, I was still a pretty good prosthetic user, so I had the technique down. Now it was just taking less energy, and I can move more efficiently, and I can move up and down, more obstacles, which leads into like my golf game, right? Because before there was certain shots I couldn't get to, or certain tee boxes I couldn't get to, and now I walk all over the course.
Doesn't matter.
A goal I would actually love to. A goal of mine is to be able to walk. I don't know if I can carry my bag, but maybe I can do it on one of the little trolleys and walk 18 holes. Not my personal country club because it's crazy hilly, but somewhere.
That's a lot though.
Yeah,
even for able-bodied, that's a lot. But hey,
someday maybe.
One day, that competitive nature. You'll text me one day and be like, "I did it.
I shot 105, but I walked.
I got it." Okay. So as you know, this podcast is in honor of Mac, Gary's son. And Mac is actually the voice in the beginning and the end of the podcast, and he created the podcast. And it was Gary's wish to resurrect and revive this when Mac died. Okay. And one thing about Mac was that during his just incredibly challenging battle with cancer, he never complained. He never wallowed in self-pity. He just focused on his family, his faith, and his art. And even when he had every right to be, to just let it all sink in, but he never allowed the difficultness to take over. And it reminds me a lot of you. That's the same vein that you are. You have such an ambition and drive. And so I ask you, what advice would you give to somebody who is going through something that they feel they just cannot overcome?
Well, the phrase I said a lot, which is kind of, militarily attitude, look at it is because we get that question asked all the time. Would you still, sign the contract if you knew this was going to happen, right? And 100%, I always say yes. And it goes with this phrase, and this is the way I've looked at my entire recovery is, it is what it is. I did it, it's fine. I never thought it would happen to me, but, it did, and I'm not going to change the past. I can't change the past, and I wouldn't change the past.
You wouldn't?
I would not. Even if I'm signing the contract and,
and
last
they tell
minute,
you,
right, I'm about to put my name to the ink, and they go, whoa, hey, by the way, year 5, second deployment, you're going to lose all 3 of your limbs. I'm still writing my name.
You still, they could show you a photo and you'd go, done.
Based off of the experience and and everything the Marine Corps taught me and brought into my life and opened up, I may have been, a competitive, authoritative, not, but I was, it definitely amplifies your traits. Not only does it bring traits out that you probably didn't know you had, the ones you did have. If you're a quasi-decent leader in high school, you're a captain of your cheer squad or baseball team or whatever, it's going to make you one of the best leaders that, our country's ever seen. Those are the guys that, end up with, Valor Awards.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. You do it anyways. You do it anyways. And just focus on, the acceptance. It seems like it is what it is, as you say it. So you focus on the acceptance and just charge forward.
Yep, definitely.
I like the way that you said that there's something about this, and I think this is that's just wise, is that the way you say you're gonna learn, even though it's challenging, you're gonna learn something from it. Even though you're going through something that seems like it's impossible to overcome, that's still making you stronger.
Yeah.
essentially.
Right. You can look at that in a lot of different ways. Like there's a silver lining on every cloud. Like,
Right.
And that's the old adage to it. But like the way you phrase it seems better to me. But yeah, that you're no matter well, and the same thing. Another old one, right? You learn a lot more from failure than you do from success.
Yeah.
But you have to be okay with failing, and a lot of people aren't. It's hard, right? It's hard to be okay with failure, but
how do you just
at this point, right?
Yeah.
For me, I've gotten to the point where I know there's stuff I can't do. I'm never gonna be able to do. And that's where you learn to accept help, and then now you've learned to accept that help. So then you start accepting it more often, and then things that you didn't necessarily need help with, it just makes it easier, or it's better, or more fun with help.
Yeah. You saying that is crazy.
Well,
you were like the
my
most
wife's
independent.
even more than I am. So.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
It's hard to get her to not do everything.
Get out of here. More than you? No. You were like independent to the extremes. I remember, 10 years ago, you lived here by yourself, which was amazing. Like that was something that I hadn't even seen. Okay, well, look at you, the growth over 10 years. Look at this. When or how did you meet Gary?
When I was a patient still with active duty, and I was going to the hospital at Balboa.
Yeah.
Judy was in charge of his foundation, and he was still shooting NCIS New York.
Yeah.
And they had a program where offered, it was like 10 veterans to come watch a filming of NCIS. And
CSI.
Was it CSI? Oh, I'm sorry. Whew. So
cut the tape.
Yeah, right. No. So,
we're done with this podcast.
Anyway, they invited a bunch of veterans to come see a filming of CSI New York, and then go to the Dodger game afterwards. And on the bus ride to the filming, I was sitting next to Judy, and she was explaining, what Gary did in his foundation.
Yeah.
And that's really when we first started. That's when she said, "Well, would you be? Is a house something that's anywhere in your thought process?"
Yeah.
And at that time, I was like nowhere near. And that was the beginning of 2012, right? Baseball season, spring training time frame.
Yeah.
Just after spring training, probably. So it was early in the year.
Yeah.
But then, so like I said, by the end, and that was, I think we, did a meet and greet type of thing with Gary because he was busy and had to go film the next day, I'm sure.
What was that like?
He maybe came to the game, but he was there only for a couple innings, I think. And I don't even remember if we talked or what we talked about. Nothing substantial, obviously. But then, like I said, that was just open the door and the gate there, because then I got invited in November to when he used to do the veterans concert.
Salute to the Troops?
Yeah, in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. And that's where, after the concert or after one of his I think it was after a meet and greet, because I wasn't even quite VIP to go in one of those yet. It was literally, I remember standing somewhere in some casino conference hall, literally behind the curtains, and meeting him real quick right before he got rushed off. You know the deal. Before he got rushed off to do something
I was
else.
not there at that time. I would not have rushed him off.
Meet him real quick and told, and then when he told me about the program and that, like, no, we're doing this whenever you're ready. Because that's the same thing I had told Judy earlier in the year. Like, I'm nowhere near. I don't even know if I'm going to go home or I'm staying here. I'm going to move to Texas like a lot of guys did, but I wouldn't. I like where I'm at.
You like where you're at, yeah. And so then eventually that's when, Gary's one of those ones, and we've, on a lot of the podcast episodes, is that he never, he always stays in contact.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. He always he still does.
I still get a couple text messages from him throughout the year.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And so eventually he finds you, he gets you to agree, and then here we are, and
part of the family.
Part of the family. And never, he never lets you go, you're part of it. So when Gary asked you to be a Gary Sinise Foundation ambassador, what did that mean to you?
It's like a pay it forward moment, right? So
yes.
I've gotten so much from Gary and the foundation and seen all that he can do. And I know my story can be powerful, and I'm decent at speaking. So if you can use me, if the foundation can use me as a tool to help bring in more support, I've been that way since day one. And when Gary made it official, it just was kind of like okay, you're good now. I know you've been doing, because he knew, and we both knew, everyone knew, and I've been doing it already since day one. So.
Oh yeah, it stems from gratitude. Oh, tell me about how you got into golf.
I actually grew up playing golf.
No.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was more baseball.
No, I did play both, but
Everything.
my grandparents,
I'm not surprised.
my grandparents on my mom's side are the ones who taught me how to play golf, because my dad never played. I actually brought him into playing the game a couple of years ago, so he never played because his dad, was one of those guys that played once or twice a year and played so bad he, threw his clubs in the pond and
they were never seen again.
Oh yeah, that was my grandpa on my dad's side. So.
Oh man.
Grandparents on my mom's side had a cabin in Idaho, northern Idaho, that was on a golf course, and so every summer we'd go spend a couple weeks out there, and that's where they taught me how to play golf.
Okay.
And I played golf and baseball, and I was actually pretty good at golf too, and played a little bit in Japan. Like obviously, when I was stationed in Japan, I got to play there.
They're big with golf.
So
that's
fun.
how I started playing. Was just being out there.
And they have some amazing golf courses out there.
Incredible. Yeah.
As long as you stay out of the bushes, it's like being here.
Yeah.
I'm not going into the bushes to get bit by a rattlesnake for an
No,
$8 golf ball. Like,
not gonna happen.
No, and I play with expensive golf balls. I'm still not gonna go find it. And I was on a trip to Georgia, and there's a lot of snakes and what do you call cottonmouths and all the guys out there. The rest of the guys out there were like, "Yeah, just send Kimmel in there. He's got no legs."
No.
Yeah. Like, except a rattlesnake can still strike like 9 feet, bro.
No, we're good.
I'm not going to look for your golf ball. Anyway, though, so I started playing as a little kid with my grandparents, and a little bit in high school, dabbled, and I got decent enough. Like I was, shooting around par.
Dang.
And then
that's real good.
And then after I got injured, obviously I didn't. And so there's a couple sports that's hard. It was really hard for me to get back into. But I did both, and golf is one of them. Snowboarding was another one, because I excelled at those things. Right? I didn't just like go out and do things like I'll just scratch golfer. And I used to jump off like 40-foot cliffs on my snowboard, and now it's like, oh yeah, you can go to the bunny hill. But I've been able to do a lot more than that. Snowboarded all around Colorado and Utah, and like I said, I met that other veteran from the Air Force on a snowboarding trip.
So when did you decide to just try golfing again, or how did?
Yeah. So there's several programs out here in California that you go through, like 6 weeks of lessons, and then they get you fitted. And one of the ones that had approached me very early on, I was still in an electric wheelchair, was Tony Perez with the Operation Game On, and he brought me out to the Del Mar practice range, and I was chipping and putting, and I was still, like I said, in an electric wheelchair, so I probably still had vacuums on my limbs and things, and he was trying to get me excited about it, and I'm like, I'm never gonna be able to play like this. This is dumb. I don't want no part of this, and so I didn't touch a club until 2016.
Oh man.
So 5 years after, and two of my buddies I grew up with, one of them lived in Temecula on the golf course Red Hawk, and Memorial Day 2016, the three of us went out and played, and I hit driver on like a downhill par 3 and made birdie, and after that I was like, I guess I can try and play this game again.
Man, what did that feel like?
Oh yeah, it was really cool. And the video was kind of embarrassing because I did the whole like, my hair's all like super grown out, all curly. It looks like and I'm wearing a old polo that's
maybe like Lieutenant Dan.
No, the polo's like just barely to my waistband because it's probably from when I was in the Marine Corps still. Yeah, but it was fun. And after that, I started playing, and I went through Tony's program. And then in 2019, a buddy of mine had told me about this other nonprofit that was doing this big competition against the Brits, and he was going to go play at St. Andrews. And it was the same time that I was doing my osseointegration.
Okay.
So I'm literally in a hospital bed in D.C. while my buddy sends me pictures of him playing at St. Andrews in this tournament called the Simpson Cup. So it's like a Ryder Cup, but for injured veterans.
Okay.
And you got to compete and qualify to make the team. So there's qualifiers throughout the year. And after I heard about that, I started trying to make that team. And in 2021, I think I made the team, and I played at the Creek Club, and I've made the team every year since then. and hopefully, and I think I've got a good chance of making the team this year too. So I just played in my national qualifier in Texas a couple weeks ago.
You're going to. Wow. There is no doubt you're going to. I've had the great pleasure of watching you play, and with able-bodied golfers, like golfers, and you smoked them. Yeah. Like, nothing against them, please. Please, no hard feelings. But I mean, you crushed it. It was unbelievable to see and so much fun. And like,
I think you're talking about Charlotte.
No, yes, okay. I know. Hey. You were like, you swept like the entire everybody. It was so amazing. So what mental and physical challenges did you have to overcome to get to like this level of the game? Because that's where you're at.
Yeah, the mental part was already there. I think because I was already a scratch golfer before, and I already was a huge competitor before. So just being it, like the hardest part was the physical part, like learning how to like stay balanced on the golf course,
right?
And being
and
able
it's
to
not
approach,
all flat.
No. And my country club actually is barely flat at all, which in the long run helps my game.
Right.
What they say is like your handicap will travel, right? So if I'm a 13 at my club and I get 13 strokes at some other club, that's way easier, right? I'm gonna play.
You're like,
it really
all right,
well.
let's do this. No big deal.
Exactly, right? But it's a fun place to play. But so once I got, and as I play more and more, and it's still even to this day, before we started this podcast, I literally had a driving range session with my rep for Titleist, and we're talking about changing out equipment because I'm swinging harder and faster and stronger.
Oh, man.
So the more I play, the better it gets. And that's what it was. Like as I played more and more, my balance got better. And then once you integrated my osseointegration, it was like the blinds just came up, right? Like I could walk around the course before, but now there's nothing on a course I can't go up or down. Like I've gone down, 60, 70 degree slopes, like stuff that most people, able-bodied people, would slip. And I've been able to go down or up, and
I love it.
It's and then it integrates physical exertion, right? Because now instead of driving up to a tee or walking up, now I can walk up to a tee box and I have the confidence I can get up there, but it's also going to make my heart rate increase, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like anyone else who's playing golf. It really is if someone tries to tell you golf's not exerting sport,
it is.
like listen to anyone who walks the game. And I understand I can't walk the game, but if you walk the game, you're walking 6 to 9 miles in one round.
Oh my goodness.
And then up and down elevation, like golf is a heck of a workout.
Oh yeah, and even just like the swing. I mean, man, the muscles you're using and
that was another thing that my coach today that I played with, he's also a one-handed golfer, right?
What?
But he commented how strong my arm is, and even when I play against other one-armed golfers that have both their legs, I still outdrive them, right? So they should be outdriving me because they can drive their legs into it more. But I'm strong enough that I'm still equal to or kind of outbouncing them.
Oh my goodness. Well, you're on Instagram under the handle One Limb Left, which makes me laugh every single time I see it because it is so you. And you posted a video of you driving, and I'm not sure how far you can drive. Like it was like 243 freaking yards. How, like, is it the repetitiveness? Is it doing it consistently that gets you to that distance?
Yeah, it's knowing how to. There's so much science behind it, but now that's science behind like a normal natural swing.
Right.
My swing is just me knowing my body and how to, and I've gotten tips and pointers along the way that I've kind of taken as a grain of salt from certain guys, or I can sort of do what you're saying, so I'm going to take part of that. And I've always been good at that, like taking little tips and snippets and adding them to my game to try and improve. And that's, so I'm able to do a few things that any pro would want a golfer to do, but I also can't do things that they would want every swinger to go, golf swing to look like. But because I have this, long time knowledge of the game of golf, I'm also able to, modify the swing that makes my, swing your swing. That's a motto going around the, golf industry now.
Swing your swing.
Swing your swing.
Swing your swing. I like that.
You have lots of professionals that are playing, some abnormal swing shots and shapes. And, they talk about the Scotty Scheffler shuffle, right? You watch his feet when he hits and he's got this weird foot movement, and Wolf.
But it works?
Yeah. I mean, he's the number one golfer in the world right now. So
it works. It obviously
right?
works.
Yeah.
Don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. If it ain't broke, just keep going.
Mm-hmm. So I've learned my swing, and I know what it takes to swing my swing.
Mm-hmm. I love that you're also just very open to feedback and like learning, it seems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even I made some changes today, even real small changes. And that's where you talk to anyone who golfs a lot or gets to the point where they're hovering around single digit handicaps. Like it's the smallest, minute little changes that are going to get you from being a 10 to a 6, right? Like, so it's when you get to that level, it's just the smallest little things that are going to get that will, make your game even that much better.
Oh man. Do you have a favorite golf experience or memory?
There's a couple, right? So my very first Simpson Cup, well, obviously, was pretty magical, and that's one. I've played some really cool golf courses around the country and overseas, and the Creek Club, which is where I played my first Simpson Cup, is still, even just the layout and the people and the membership, is still that's probably my favorite course I've ever played.
Yeah.
And then being able to win the cup and raise and do the champagne spray and all that, and then since then, we lost one and tied twice, so we haven't got to do that again.
Oh, so it was the big one.
Yeah, so this year, hopefully, and I'm not sure that the Americans have ever won overseas, but this year it's overseas, so we're going over to somewhere around London,
We're pulling for you.
Yeah, hopefully. So
it's going to be,
and then,
this is the year.
But then the other one, which was 2 years ago, same thing, Simpson Cup, was being able to bring my wife and son out. And so they came and watched me, and the weather was absolutely horrible. It rained, and the wind was blowing so hard, everyone's umbrellas were turning inside out. And it was one of the toughest, rounds of golf I ever played. But it was really cool to have them there, and they walked around and got to see me play a little bit. And then afterwards, we got to explore Scotland and drove up north and went to a football match in Manchester. The scarf up there hanging on.
I love
animal.
it.
And so.
What's your handicap?
10.9 right now.
Holy smokes.
But it was as low as a 9.2 or something earlier this year, but I'm okay with it being where it's at.
You think? That's insane. Wow. Do you have goals? Like, do you have a certain goal with that, or are you just like...
I mean, it's kind of, like I said, once you get in this range, it's really hard to get it to go...
Crushing it.
It's hard to get it to move a lot, but... if I could stay in the single digits consistently, I'd be happy. Like if I could float around like a 7 or an 8,
oh my goodness,
9, 7, 8, 9, single digits, I'd be happy with.
I think,
But then you have
pretty
to play
exceptional.
well. Yeah, it's playing really well golf. I mean, you're making more pars than not.
Oh yeah, exactly. Last year, you achieved another goal. You became a father. Mm-hmm. And your daughter is now, she's just a year old.
Yep. Yeah. In a couple weeks.
Yeah. In a couple of weeks.
Plus,
okay.
No. She's a year plus a couple weeks.
Okay. What's it like to be a girl dad?
For me, I kind of wanted a girl. Honestly, I don't know why.
Really? That is rare.
But So she's a little gremlin, right? She's not. She's a dinosaur.
That's one way to explain it.
She's definitely. She's a handful, but she's also She has her sweet moments, but she likes to be moving around. She loves to be outside, and she just started walking. And I swear, if I could have learned how to walk as fast as her, I'd be an Olympic runner right now. It was seriously like one day. Actually, she took a while to crawl. Yeah. She starts crawling, and then she starts walking, right? And then then a couple of days later, she's figured out she could take steps, and she took there was 1 or 2 days where she took the little tiny 5-6 steps. Yeah. And then after that, she was
just running
down the driveway.
Oh no!
Yeah, just everywhere. But
you showed a video.
At least
of
she's
her.
not running yet. I mean, that's gonna be tough. She's gonna be faster than me.
Oh yeah. Sure. You're gonna be chasing her all around, all around.
But she'll be fast. I might have to get we're gonna have to train her somehow. I need a whistle.
A little leash. You know how they have some.
Yeah, I don't want to go to that, but. Some kind of sound or I'll just get the air horn.
Yeah.
Wait, turn around.
You'll have a little trigger for her just to know. Wait a second. Dad said no.
And it's just going to hit the barrier like bing,
Oh,
like the vacuum.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for hosting us in your home and for sharing your incredibly inspirational story. And it's just been so amazing and a deep honor to watch you over the past decade. And I am so excited for what's to come. And as we do with every podcast episode, Mac will close out the show.
You've been listening to GSF Podcast, the official podcast of the Gary Sinise Foundation. If you'd like to find out more about what the foundation is up to, or if you'd like to make a donation, please visit GarySiniseFoundation.org. Make sure to tune in next time for more interviews, and thanks for joining us.